Welcome to the first video of the Rush cutting board. I got a customer that reached me today and needs a Rush cutting board made, and it's custom, so it's going to be all maple. So I'm going to get to work on it, so hang on and we'll be right back. Okay, one of the first things I've got to do is I've got to take this 7.5 wide, 9 foot, 1 inch long piece of 3/4 thick maple, and I've got to cut it down to 19 inch long strips. And once I get those cut down to the lengths, then I'll get my other table saw out and I'll cut those into the strips that I need. So first step's just going to be cutting these down to some manageable 19 inch lengths. The board is going to finish at 18 inches. So what I want to do is I want to leave it a little bit long so I have some cleanup on the ends. And we waste not much material doing it that way. We keep it nice and short as much as we can. So, all right, there's the first one. Well, broke the lead on my pencil. All right, so there's the first cut. What I'll do on that second cut is I'll go 19 1/8, because that'll allow for the thickness of my blade when I cut. It's an 1/8 inch cut curve, so I just make it 19 1/8. That's my second cut. And I'll do the same thing here. Pardon me for getting in front. All right, 3 boards is probably all I'm going to need to cut, because I can get 6 boards out of the width, and I only need 12 to make this cutting board in the width. So this right here is going to give me 18, so I'll have some boards I can sort through. So, all right, let me go ahead and get to cutting on them. So here we go. All right, that's board number 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the camera. I'll come back and we'll be setting up with the table saw, and we'll get those boards cut to the width. So be right back. All right, I've got my table saw set up to the right height, and I've got it off the fence, set off the inside of the blade, adjusted for the width. I'm gonna cut these about 1 1/8 inch. That gives me a little bit of room for cleanup and make sure I've got good straight boards. So we're just going to start feeding these through and making us some 1 1/8 inch wide strips. So here we go. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to kind of lay them out and kind of get an idea of how they're going to look laid out, and get a feel for what it's going to look like. I don't like that one. That's a better fit. So that's good. 1 2 3 4 5 10. There's some good ones right there. So what I'm looking for is about 12 inches wide, and that is actually a little over 13. If I take one away, then we're looking at 12 1/4. So we got something to play with, and we got some left over. We've got 5 boards left over, so we're in good shape. And so I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. When I come back, we'll be set up inside the building and we're going to be doing some sanding and getting these ready for glue up, and we'll see how long we can work on that and get it knocked out and get the glue up done. So we're getting on it, so be right back. In the woodworking world, you've got to be flexible, and I didn't like the look of the whole board being out of maple. It's just too white. So I went to look, and sure enough, I had 2 pieces of cherry that are a perfect fit with this board. So I'm going to put a cherry on the second, and on the second to the last, or next to the last in here, and that's going to break it up, give it just a touch of color. So I'm glad I found those. I got to thinking about that, and I said, you know, I thought I had some pieces that would work, and I did. So it does take it down just a little bit. So instead of 12 1/4, I think it's like 12 1/8. Yeah, it's about 12 1/8 inch wide, but that's still a good size cutting board. So we're gonna add a little color to it. So like I said, when I come back, we'll be inside. We'll be doing the sanding and getting ready for glue up. So be right back. This is the fun part. I'm weird. I love to sand. It doesn't bother me. A lot of people don't like sanding, but I do. So here we go. Now I'm going to take them off this mat. What I want to do is I want to lay them down and see how we got as far as dressing up. And I've got some dressing up to do, possibly. I'll flip them over to see. That's a good fit there. Right there. That's those 2 sides right there. Alright, so squeeze them together. Yeah, that's a good fit. Okay, off camera, I found me a replacement board for it. It's going to be a good fit. Going to clean up nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and number these so I keep them in order. This will be, well, broke my lip. This will be number 1, number 2, number 3, 10, and 11. I've got 11 boards, and it's going to give me right at about 12 1/16. So all that sanding I did only took off about 1/16 of an inch. So we'll be right at 12 inches, which is good. I like a 12 by 18 board. All right, if you followed my channel for any amount of time at all, you know I'm a big fan of dry fitting and making sure everything's going to fit the way I want it. And this is going to fit out pretty nice, so I'm real happy with it. And so I'm going to go ahead and proceed on with the glue up. Right now this is just all in the clamps and a dry fit, squeezed in, making sure what I'm seeing and what I like. And I really like everything I've got right here. So next thing for me to do is just to go ahead and do the glue up. And so what I'm going to do now is just start kind of spreading the glue out, and then we'll get it rolled over into the right spot so that we can get them glued up. I'm just going to do a section at a time, not a whole lot of it. But I do want to get good squeeze or good application of glue across the boards. I want to see good amounts of glue, because I would rather see glue getting wasted and squeezed out than not enough glue being used and the board falling apart. That is not anything I want associated with my name. So I'd rather waste glue than waste a whole application of a job because I didn't do it right. All right, so one last check, because we have all the numbers up. They're all in the right spot. So now we can start with a little bit of the squeeze up. I'll let that rag soak in the water. I'm gonna make use of that here in just a little bit. Use some items that we're pretty common use in the cutting board business. And these are called cauls, C-A-U-L-S. And what those are boards that are going to squeeze the cutting board flat and keep it flat. One on each side, each end. Get that out of the way. Let me put the cap on that so I don't spill it and knock it over. Okay, so now we'll put this other caul. Now these cauls have tape, packing tape all across the front of them, and that is to help keep it from sticking to the glue. And I just put those on right there and just tighten those down. And what those do, those squeeze it together and keep it kind of flat. Okay, again, these are going to squeeze the boards flat and parallel. And now we're going to start the little squeeze up. And these boards are going to, these clamps are going to pull them together. Now, it's not a really hard squeeze yet. It'll be one little bit better squeeze here in a minute. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rag, which is soaked with water, and I'm going to use it to mop up the excess glue. And that just makes my cleanup and everything a whole lot easier if I take care of it while I can get to it. And not to worry about the water in the glue. This is a waterproof glue that I'm using. It's called Titebond 3, and it is a waterproof glue. And this is what the company recommends you do, is use a wet rag to clean it up as best you can before you let it dry. So we get this side cleaned up as best we can. All right, so those are all uniformly tight. So now you'll notice all three of these are underneath the board, and then I'm going to put two here in the middle, and they're going to be on top of the board, and those are alternating pressure. So there's some up, some down, and it just kind of balances and equal things out, and gives us a good squeeze tight fit. So Pull these a little bit closer so I can get my hands on them. All right. So now those are done. Okay. And then we'll take one last turn here, 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 and here. Tighten that one down. Okay. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our cutting board under glue. So this is going to set for overnight. So in the morning, when I come back out, I will be able to take the clamps off and the cawls off, and then we will be able to do the cleanup, run it through the planer, get it trued up flat, and then from that point on, we should be able to go ahead and get things finished up with it. So this, all in all, has been a very quick and fast workup. But the fortunate thing was, like I said, my customer caught me right at the nick of time. I was about to start that cabinet, and my cabinet customer graciously allowed me to hold off on starting that one, and so I can take care of this one. So I love it when a plan comes together. So this will be the end of video 1, and tomorrow when we take it out of the clamps, I'll be picking up with video number 2, and we'll continue on. So if y'all would go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the like button, and that bell icon so you get notified whenever I post a video. And if you would share my channel and my videos with your family and friends, I'd greatly appreciate it. And lastly, leave me questions and comments. I'll answer every one of them. I appreciate you taking the time to do that, and I can honor you. The only way I can do it is by answering your questions or comments. So thanks a bunch. I'll see y'all tomorrow.